Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Azubu Crystal Cup number 2. My name is Fancy Wolf. I'm going to be one of your casters today, and with me today, my awesome co-caster here.
Hello, my name is TG Popples. I'm glad to be here.
And we are going to get some super awesome Dominion games going for you. It looks like our first round is going to be Abusement Park versus Dominion Isn't Dead, Dominion Left Yesterday. That is quite a mouthful of a team name to say. And we are in Champ Select, or we are in Team Select right now. We will be getting Champ Select going in just a second. And once we do, we will get this thing rocking.
And rolling.
So, shoutouts to Azubu, hosting another awesome tournament for us. Everyone is really excited for this, myself included. I know the community was really hoping they would get another one going as soon as we did that first one. So, expecting some good stuff for today. Alright, and a little bit different from normal Dominion tournaments, we aren't going to have any chat bans this week. So it is just going to be standard 3 bans for each side. What do you think about that? How do you think that's going to affect teams?
3 bans and 3 bans is a very different metagame from having chat bans. What ends up happening is you see things like Braum, things like Leona, Maokai, all the big tanks normally are the first things that get banned out. And then the things that follow that are the other initiators like Vi and Jarvan. And lastly, we have normally the respect bans to the opposing team, things that they play very well.
Yeah, Braum and Leona being incredibly strong on Dominion. Unlike in Summoner's Rift, they're able to build full tank and play the way they were designed. So they can go in, soak up tons and tons of damage. They're incredibly hard to kill. And they also output quite a bit of damage on their own. So when they get into that backline, it can be scary. So as you'll start to see, you'll see some of those tanks being banned out, as well as other champions that the opponents probably play. We see the Gragas, the Jinx as well. It's a pretty interesting ban there.
AD carries really not being prominent or very strong forces on the Dominion map, unless they are very heavily supported by their team. So we don't tend to see them very often.
And it looks like we are going to have a Yasuo ban coming out. Yasuo being incredibly strong. He can normally sit bot lane, get all that delicious farm, and once he has that gold advantage, he runs up top and just starts destroying team fights for his team. So very good takeaway there. He's like a ticking time bomb. Once that 15-minute mark hits, he's pretty scary to deal with.
And we see the Maokai ban come out and the Fizz insta-lock. What do you think of that, Fancy?
You know what? I do know Darkbolt as a Fizz player. I've seen it a few times in solo queue, so they probably want to get that Fizz away. Fizz is actually going to be getting some nerfs up here in the near future, so he is still a very strong pick on the map. He can take a target out of the equation and get out scot-free with that troll pull. And that Maokai ban, though, recent changes, we're not going to call them nerfs or buffs, because they are mostly buffs. But the changes that came to him made him an incredibly strong tank, stronger than he was before on Dominion. And it looks like we do have a Wukong being picked up yet, but not quite locked in.
It's very interesting. When you look at the current bans that we have, when we did have a 6-ban meta, when we had chat bans, and we had a total of 10 bans in the game, you saw these things like Wukong and Zyra and Fizz. They were all things that would traditionally get banned. So now that we are at 6 bans, there are a lot of very strong picks that do generally get through, like you see the Wukong and the Zyra being picked up on purple team.
Yeah, the Wukong still a strong pick. His passive is a little bit nerfed in Dominion, as well as his ultimate cooldown, but he does have the ability to jump in. He's got that Cyclone, knock up the entire enemy team. The Yasuo is off to that table, so the Wombo combo won't be there, but he does have the Zyra as well. Zyra, an incredibly safe mage, hard to get off a point, can sit back and spam plants. It's just, she's really hard to engage on, and once you finally do, you end up getting knocked up, you eat tons of plant damage. It's just not fun at all.
We see a current Jax highlight over here for blue team. There are a lot of priority picks still up. There's Lucian with his recent mobility increases. He is a force to be reckoned with even on his 500 range. There are things like Malzahar that are still open, which is a commonplace in the bot lane. Brand is also up, which is generally a go-to mage for the Dominion meta. And we have Urgot, who is another champion you'll see in Dominion a lot. He's very strong 1v1, and has a lot of damage, generally building Mirror Mana extraordinarily quickly because of its Dominion-only changes.
Yeah, Dominion's Muramana charges a lot faster than Summoner's Rift. In addition to Dominion having a Chalice aura built in, so he'll get natural mana regen the lower he goes on it. So Urgot, actually a really strong pick in Dominion. His passive being able to cut 15% of someone's damage away, it's so powerful and really underrated by a lot of people, but in the right hands, Urgot is a very, very scary champion on this map. And then we do have the Jax locked in. Commonly seen bot lane, but he can also be played top. Once he starts to get rolling, he still turns into that scary, hyper late game terror that he's known for. And it looks like we do have a Sedge being picked up on purple team here.
Now, with all three of the big three really being banned out, Maokai, Braum, and Leona, we'll see people generally go to Amumu, Sejuani, or Rammus as the three primary tanks after that. Sejuani, I would consider the weaker of the three and the easiest of the three to really play. And we also see the Jarvan, which is really getting through this far into picks and bans, is quite surprising.
Yeah, that's very, very big. Normally, Jarvan is a pretty high priority pick next to that Vi. Their ability to simply engage on a team and just throw everything out the window, say, you know what, I'm going in there, I'm getting in that back line, and I'm going to lock down someone or your whole team. It's an unparalleled thing to have on your team comp, and being able to get it, especially this late in the picks and bans, is very, very good. They're going to have some really strong initiation coming out from purple team here. Let's see what blue team decides to pick up.
Blue team has three viable bot laners right now, so it wouldn't be very wise to... What generally happens is you see purple team save their last pick to counterpick bot lane, and the meta has slowly evolved into blue teams then picking a very large amount of possible bottom laners so that a counterpick cannot really be there, as you cannot... Generally, one champion cannot fight three different matchups very well. We see Sin and Irelia being locked in, so I would assume that the Jax or the Urgot is indeed going bottom.
Yeah, I would assume probably the Jax or Lee, but considering all five of these champs can do bot lane effectively, that they do have a very strong chance of, I mean, they could send Fizz, they can send Urgot, any of those could go bot. They really just want to see who is going to be that bot lane champ, and they're going to decide what can we send down there that won't also mess up our team comp for top lane. And as you do notice from blue team here, they don't actually have a strong front line or initiate. It looks like they're going to be roaming the jungle a lot, trying to look for picks, doing a lot of rotations into bot, doing some ganks. But we'll see how they decide to play that team comp there. And the Karma does get locked
blue
in.
team, it is 4 AD and 1 AP. There really isn't a true hybrid unless somebody is going to pull out an AP Jax. You see the Karma lock in for purple team. I do not believe it would be wise for blue team to send their Fizz bottom lane and run a 4 AD comp top. We see it very rarely from time to time, and it has a very, very important spike that you have to hit as 4 AD top lane, where you need to win the game around 14 minutes before the other team can really build armor and have damage items on top of it if they were going to do something like that.
Yeah, power spikes are a very, very big thing in Dominion because everyone is equal on gold for the most part. The biggest differential in gold you'll see throughout the game is probably 2 to 3k, and that's not that much. So most of the time, everyone is sitting on the same items, and it really comes down to what is your champion's abilities, how well do they scale, and you have to take that into account when planning out your team comp. And at that 14-minute mark, 10 to 14 minutes, bruisers and ADs normally hit that good power spike where they're able to just kind of mow over everything uncontested. So we'll see how they have to play that out here. And we have hit our timer, so we'll take off those summoner blockers. And few flashes this time, quite a few compared to what we've been seeing in finals matches lately. Lots of heal and exhaust, that's to be expected.
Exhaust currently probably the strongest summoner spell, but I want to take a second while we have this 2-minute delay to talk about how to build a team comp in Dominion. There are really three key things when you want to build a team comp in Dominion. You either want to build a team comp to get picks and roam out through the jungle. What that generally involves is having 2 really strong champions and definitely very strong individual champions so that they can go and through the fog of war and be able to 1v1 things or be able to get away if they bite off a little more too much than they can chew. Now, when you have these high mobility champions are the things that you want for these comps like we see on blue team. We have Sin, we have Fizz, we have Jax. When you look at purple team, what they are really good at doing is they have a really good four-man wombo combo. Karma is pretty decent at holding her own 1v1. Zyra really wants a buddy. You know, you have Jarvan. Typically what you see is 2v2s, or you would pair up with somebody together and make sure that when they come together as a four-man, they're very strong. But you still don't want four individually weak champions on Dominion. You want a very good balance. The other things that we get to look at with these team comps is you see Blue Team really only has one champion who can poke, is Urgot. He has a little bit of poke. It's not the best in the world. For Purple Team, you see Karma, you have Zyra. If they both opt to go into the top lane, they have a lot of poke, and they have a lot of anti-initiate and anti-engage, as well as having very, very strong engage with the Wukong Cyclone and Jarvan's Cataclysm.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard for Blue Team, I think, to try and engage and get on them, to get onto Purple Team with that Zyra. You know, as we were just talking about, her ultimate is great for counter-initiates. She does have the snare for the counter-initiates. You do as well have the Sedge, who can just throw out that ultimate and lock down an entire team jumping on you. Jarvan can counter-initiate really well when played correctly. He can use that EQ and lock them down in the Cataclysm as they try to come in while his team kites back. So it's going to be very hard. I think, like you said, Blue Team is really going to have to focus on getting those picks, trying to find 1v1s, because individually they are stronger, but when they're grouped up as a team, that team fight is not going to go very well for them. So we're going to have to see how they rotate around the map, how they look for ganks, and how they look for picks in the jungle.
Another very important thing to note about these teams is if you look at their champions and you look at Blue Team, other than the Lee Sin, their team is very, very item dependent. If you look at Purple Team, Wukong really has a core of Black Cleaver. Zyra really only has a core of, you know, Chalice and Impin Boots, or, you know, your Void Staff. It's not, they're not very item heavy. They're very levels heavy. A lot of those champions scale with their abilities. Zyra, Sejuani, and Karma get a lot of levels. Jarvan also gets a lot of levels as he gets to put more into his shield, and his base stats really start taking over.
Oh, and I think I might have just lost my co-caster there really quick. Hang on and I will get him back.
Over the game.
We are getting into this loading screen right now. I will get him back on here in just a second. Good old tech issues when we are so far away trying to cast together. But again, this is going to be Abusement Park on the top here with... excuse me, Dominion didn't die. It left yesterday. It is going to be the bottom team on purple. And as Popples was saying, to kind of reiterate before he got cut off there, purple team has a very good team comp in terms of scaling with levels. A lot of those champions get some really good free stats. They get a lot of good abilities, and Jarvan gets free armor on his E. His shield gets stronger the more he levels it. It all just comes down to that very specific level and timing. So, let me get my co-caster back in here. Alright, we good?
Oh, it seems so.
Okay, that was kind of weird there. Okay, so, as we get into this game, let's check out these items that are coming out.
Everybody pretty much taking standard starts so far. You can charge... One thing very important to note about tier in the Dominion is you can charge tier before the game actually starts. Generally, you can get around 100 to 140 mana off of a tier in the base, depending on your champion. Urgot being very, very good is probably going to get very, very high. One thing that I take a lot of attention to is you see with Zyra starting with Chalice. Now, I'm not really a fan of a Chalice start, specifically because fights don't normally take long enough for you to run out of mana. Chalice and Zyra is not a very mana-heavy champion, only having 2 spells on moderate cooldowns in the early game. Generally, you would see her pick up something like a ring, and a couple, 1 mana pot and 1 health pot to make sure she has enough mana for very, very long, extended fights.
What else do we have here? The Sedge with the Kindle Gem, very good, having that CDR to try and get some extra abilities out. Urgot starting with the tier, going for that fast Muramana. And yeah, the Chalice on the Zyra, probably wanted to try and get that Athene's as fast as possible, but I mean, if it turns into a prolonged fight, this could really pay off for her. If the fight ends up going a little bit longer to where she starts to run out of mana, that will really, really start to pay off. But if it ends up being a quick trade, a few assassinates, done and done, then hopefully they end up winning the fight.
Blue team has captured the refinery. Red team
Alright, and as we run up to Windmill, we are going to get into this here.
Red team has captured
See how the poke goes. We do have the Zyra to drop down some plants and get some good poke out. Ooh, the Fizz going right in, managing to get some good damage down on Zyra. Is going to be taking her very low. Sejuani coming right in, the exhaust going down. And Jax will be able to get out of this, but he jumps right back in, trying to get some more damage down. Nice flash away, but is going to get taken out by the Wukong's flash in. Lee Sin and Urgot should be able to finish off this Wukong very easily. And the Zyra throwing down her plants, trying to get that Lee Sin off. And Fizz still just trying to get Zyra down, chasing her to the ends of the earth. Is he going to be able to get it? Yes, him and Lee Sin are able to clean up that kill. Urgot just sitting in the back, going to town. They might actually be able to finish this off. It is just the Fizz. Oh, but the Wukong's revive coming out, getting back up as fast as he can. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, some trades going down. Oh, Karma is going to be able to go down on that one. Irelia might be able to force that revive. And meanwhile, we're back up at a neutral top lane. Jarvan trying to get some poke off, seeing what he can do there. Looks like Lee Sin is going to be chasing away Wukong, trying to get him out. And it looks like Abusement will take the windmill, and everyone is just going to kind of back off, say, alright, that was a good trade. Let's get back into this, regroup, heal. Killing Dominion, trying to get some good jungle control here. Dropping down those Zyra plants for vision.
Red team is
Jarvan making sure nothing snuck around behind him.
It's unfortunate. I had a quick spectator crash there. I get back into this game.
Oh, no problem. I'll take care of it then. Alright, Irelia and Karma are going to go into it one more time here. It's very, very difficult to take out Karma. She's able to just push you back. Her Q has massive wave push, and then when she mantras her tether, she'll get a bunch of health back. So it's incredibly hard to go in on her, especially as a melee bruiser. I'm really concerned to see how Irelia is going to handle the spot lane here. But we do have a siege of the top point going on here. Let's see if Dominion isn't dead, decides to back off and push for mid, or if they're going to continue this siege. They do have the better team fight. So by the time level 6 comes around, they might want to go in on it.
We see the blue team coming over here for a very ambitious flank. They do have all of their ults up. Probably trying to get a very good position on this Zyra, so she doesn't have her seeds in the jungle and they want them up. But we see purple team staying together. We have the Jax farming top lane, which is very important, as you see Sejuani and Jarvan go in very, very hard.
Oh, the Wombo combo.
Wombo combo going down, Poppy Sedo flashing out, but they're realizing that they definitely cannot fight purple team in a format, at least if they're all sub. Sejuani is zoning Fizz. We have Urgot, who recalled back to the base as they come back up and try to take this point from this Jax.
Yeah, they're going to try and pressure this Jax as much as they can right now. So, Wukong going in, but the counter-strike is out. Oh, he's going to get tethered down, probably going to go down from that Wukong. Fizz going in, is able to assassinate the Zyra. But I don't think
he's going to live this. He's going to get down as much damage as possible. Seems that they're not going to opt to blow the majority of their revives. Keep them for a later day, and we see the Urgot storm buff in the middle with his Mana Moon currently finished.
Yep. So he's going to grab that. Next time a team fight breaks out, he's going to have a lot of damage coming out, that extra magic damage proc from it. That can proc from his Qs, from his auto attacks. Any source of damage coming from the champion will be able to proc that every few seconds. So very, very good play there. Able to get that, and looks like they're going to try to pressure this top.
We have Sejuani going in, doing a little zoning off the point. Exhaust being used. Quite skeptical about this fight in the base, as we do see Jarvan's going to come up for the reinforcements, but without ultimate he's not going to be able to get a very good engage down.
Yeah, so very nicely done holding off that tower there. Urgot still does have that storm shield though, so they're going to try and make another play right now.
We have the Fizz and the Zyra currently standing off in the jungle. This is what happens with Zyra being a very, very slow champion, very, very weak at getting maneuvering around the jungle. She goes down. Fizz is also going to go down. We have Wukong fighting it out with Jax, another exhaust being used. Wukong is going to go down, and Urgot's going to opt to use his ultimate. Jarvan, with his Q, is not going to be able to pick off Jax, and he's probably also going to fall.
Yeah, that Urgot using that ult swap right before his target died, he was able to get a massive chunk of MR and armor boost from it. So just because of that, the Jarvan was not able to deal with the Urgot anymore, so he had to back off. I think Fish just blew his ultimate trying to catch up to that Jarvan, which sent him very low, but Gonna try to get a gank on the bot lane here. Karma is gonna go B.
Karma just finished 1v1ing the Irelia. All of these summoner spells were used in the bottom lane. Karma did not have her flash, but she did not need it. And we see the Fizz and the Wukong gonna have a little face-off. Grasping Roots is gonna hit the Fizz. He might not be able to get out of here depending on how much CDR this Wukong has.
Oh, Wukong's seen him dangerously low. Nice Q to the minions to get away from that. He will be able to walk away alive, but he is probably gonna have to go to base. Meanwhile, Jax running up in the jungle, running into a bit more than he wanted to. Gonna back off from that. Wait for his team for reinforcements. Very nice flash to get out of the ultimate from Zyra there. And this is a 4-man push in the bot lane. Meanwhile, back up top, hopefully they're going to be able to get something done. Looks like they are going onto this Jarvan here. They're going to try to take him down.
In the bot lane, we do see Irelia going down. Fizz kind of stuck on his own on this point. He's also in a very bad predicament. We see the first revive being popped by the Irelia in the bottom lane. But I don't think she's going to be able to do anything against this 3-man squad by herself. Meanwhile, at top lane, Jarvan did end up going down. Lee Sin's going to go down to Zyra and her 2 plants, and this turret is going to be held, but it will be a 3 cap for Purple Team.
Yep, Purple Team did get that good pressure bot, and they did manage to hold off that midpoint as well, so looks like they are going to maintain that 3 cap. Irelia needs to get this back while they regroup and try to push for top lane. While Jax trying to work on that Trinity Force, he is almost done there. Just needs to get that Sheen and Zeal finished.
We do start seeing the builds develop. It looks like Lee Sin's going for a Random Omen or a Sunfire Cape. We have the Chalice and the CDR boots coming out for Zyra, so she's going to be capped on her CDR very, very quickly as we see the Fizz thinking about interrupting the cap on the top lane. The Wukong being very ambitious, walking to the middle of the turret and tanking the Fizz going down to half health. Counter-Strike being charged. 3-man Counter-Strike landing here. Zyra going very, very low is going to fall to Urgot. Wukong also going to fall. Jax is now very, very low. We see the Urgot swap the Jarvan onto the turret as the Lee Sin comes in, and it looks like this is going to be a clean sweep for the blue team.
Yeah, it's very nicely done there. And they're actually winning the 4v4 team fights here and doing an excellent job at it, very convincingly. I don't think anyone went down in that team fight.
Nobody went down. We saw the Wukong glow revive. He was very, very out of position being ambitious on that turret, and that really caused everything to go bad for his team right there. We see Lee Sin did land the Q on Wukong, is going to choose to go in. Another revive being blown by Sejuani. Very, very nice kick. However, was on the Wukong clone. Still managed to hit the Sejuani. We have Fizz being pressured very, very hard by Sejuani. I don't think he's going to back up, and I think blue team is definitely going to lose both of their players right here. Lee Sin being able to get away with a recall, however.
Yeah, Lee Sin gonna run away as fast as he can. Urgot, nice flash, but the Jarvan damage still gets through, and he will get taken down. Jax running up here to try and hold things off. He still doesn't quite have that Trinity Force yet, so he is not going to be hitting as hard as he could be.
Oh, we see Irelia going for a dive in the bottom lane on Karma. Don't think this is going to work out for us. Karma has a lot of extra regen, hiding around the turret very, very well. Irelia's going to go very, very low. She has 1 monster charge. Maybe she can hit it. Oh, it's going to whiff. Meanwhile, at top lane, we have another team fight breaking out. Purple team definitely having the numbers advantage here, and they're going to push both of the blue team away.
Yeah, so they will be able to grab that top lane back into the 3 cap for their favor. Very nice rotation. They had that bot lane. Took them quite a team fight there. They lost it, but then they managed to bring it back and get it again.
You saw Wukong going in there for a very ambitious Cyclone. Is going to give his life for 2 players.
Yeah, but he did, it might pay off here. Let's see. Zyra is very, very good at solo holding points. Ooh, if she gets caught by this Jax, that might be game over here. The plants are doing a lot of extra damage. Urgot does have that Muramana done, so the damage is going to be insane from him. And she does miss the snipe, but the Winions will clean up that kill on Jax.
See Urgot trying to zone out both Jarvan and Sejuani here. Jarvan going in very ambitiously. Urgot going to blow ult, so I do believe that if the Urgot can stay alive, he has enough damage, but he is not focusing the correct target.
He's trying to nuke down this edge. He really needs to go for the Jarvan, who has the extra damage. That Ghostblade already finished. It is off cooldown.
But they are kiting very well as we see both the Wukong and the Fizz going to come in for their respective teams. Who's going to play cleanup? We see both teams losing each a member, and the Assassins, the cleanup crews, doing their jobs, but who will win in the end?
This is going to be a close one. Oh, slight, probably misclick trying to run away there, hitting the tower on accident. That happens to the best of us. Let's see if Fizz can manage to get this. He is going to get a lot of damage down. Oh, it's going to be close! Oh, and Fizz manages to take it out in the end.
Well, Jax catching Zyra again as she is ambitiously on the wrong side of the point. She is going to fall immediately.
The dangers of being a low mobility mage.
Blue team has captured the windmill. And
blue team is going to take that point back. So now it is going to be a 3 cap in their favor, as well as the score. And, you know, I feel like purple team just isn't really utilizing their team fight as much as they could, and Irelia actually going to go down 1v1 to the Karma, but this team is here, ready to back up Karma as Lee Sin jumps in. And ooh, very, very good safeguard away to the turret. Jax coming in with the counter-strike to keep him off for a second longer. Fizz is going to be here, he's jumping into the fight, just kiting around, trying to stall some time till they can get the numbers. Very nicely done. Irelia using that revive, getting back out. Ooh, very nice Wukong there by Karma. Is going to be able to escape most of the damage. Might even be able to get away. Can Irelia polish off the kill? Fizz will clean it up. And Sedge trying to put some pressure onto the Irelia. Just not dying. This pig is so tanky right now. Has that Sunfire cape, is going for a sweeper, it seems. And Lee Sin does land the Q onto Jarvan, is going to be able to go in with that Fizz and clean him up as well. Meanwhile, top Urgot does have that Storm Relic again, that is going to be very dangerous. And ooh, Fizz getting chunked by that Karma Q is going to need to back out. And Aurelia, I'd be careful as well. That is a Wukong at full health, ready to go.
She has her Equilibrium Strike stun, and they get the vision with Lee Sin, and it looks like they will be able to trade 1-for-1.
That's a pretty decent trade, but Fizz did also get taken out by the Karma. And it looks like Karma is also going to be going in right onto Lee Sin, not even caring, just full on. And Lee Sin, I don't know if you're going to be able to get away from that one. That Sedge is right there waiting for you.
Recalling, however, was his best option to try to get away there.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
he
it did not work.
Choice. Meanwhile, Urgot just kind of pushing up in the top lane. Can't really fight him 1v1 with that Muramana and Last Whisper. If you try to go in, all your armor is going to instantly vanish. You're going to deal less damage, and he is just going to melt you. And
we see Fizz jumping on the Zyra once again. Irelia coming in and also making sure that that kill is secured.
Yeah, very nicely done by Fizz. He knows where he needs to be to pick out those squishy mages that try to hide in the back. Oh, but he's traveling by himself.
Purple
here.
team going for a pick, but they see the Fizz and they know it has Troll Pulse, so it more than likely can get away with them with the help of Speed Trend. But now it's cornered. Oh, and a beautiful dodge on the Cataclysm is going to get just a one-person Fizz. He's going to also bait an exhaust out as he heads towards his turret.
Was able to dodge the Cataclysm damage as well, getting out and locking the entire team down. Very nice Wukong, trying to keep himself alive for a second longer. Is going to try to go in onto the Wukong, but will be taken down. He missed the Health Relic steal there. And Jax jumping away, jumping to the Jarvan flag to get away from that situation there. Very nicely done. Lee Sin going to try to hold this off as long as he can. Ooh, just barely missing that.
Decent amount of good plays, but because all of their team was not there at the same time, it might not mean anything. The point is still being held, however, as we see Urgot finally make his grand appearance with Zyra. Again, walking up to an entire team, getting swapped back, she's going to fall. It looks like Sejuani is going to fall next. Lee Sin is going to go down. But now Purple team finding themselves on the back foot as that fight took well over 50 seconds, and everybody coming back from the base is going to clean them up.
Yeah, Sedge, I think, yes, she did get back. She almost died to Fizz's dot, but was able to get away. I think she grabbed a health relic just to make sure she was safe, and then immediately headed B. But point still not capped. Zyra and Jarvan up here, but Jackson Lee going in on him, trying to make sure he gets taken down before swapping onto the Zyra. Very good. She is going to go down. The Lee Sin Q is on. Oh, but the Wooglit's on the second Q for Lee. But is going to be able to go down in the end.
It's a double kill coming out for Jax, and now we see where things are getting really bad for Purple Team. The longer this game goes, the harder Blue Team's comp scales, since it does scale very, very well with items, and that power spike that Purple Team was supposed to hit wasn't significantly capitalized on. So it will be really, a really good comeback, and it might come back on respawn waves and a little bit of the Dominion comeback mechanics if they are able to get another foothold in this game.
Yeah, most of Purple Team does have a revive ready to go. Only person without any is Jarvan. But the same could be said for Blue Team. They do have revives ready, and it looks like Irelia coming up here for this top fight. This is actually going to be a 5v4. Jax is coming in from backline. The Cyclone and the Wombo combo ults are coming out, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Looks like Wukong and Irelia are going to go down first, followed by the Zyra and Lee. Jarvan is going to go down, and down goes the pig. That is going to be a 4-for-1. Actually, 4-for-2, excuse me. But Irelia very wisely using that revive to get back down into that bot lane to cover it, so Karma could not capture that point all the way.
It's really a testament to what happens if you try to fight a Wombo combo team comp 4v5, and they still went for a 2. They got 2-for-4. That's very, very good. We saw Blue Team literally just trying to tank all of their AoE ultimates, and that is very, very ill-advised.
Yeah, it is a very difficult thing to do. I mean, normally when you have a 5v4 situation in Dominion, you're going to win it quite handily, possibly only losing one person. But losing 2 people out of that mix-up in a 4v5 is pretty bad. Those Wombo ults are very, very scary, and Urgot trying to get some damage down onto the Sedge here does land the corrosive charge, is going to be able to get her to down to about half, and oh no, Zyra getting swapped in, but excellent Wukong bait. The fish trying to jump in, doesn't quite get it done. But can Jarvan get up here in time to help clean up the fight? The Wukong is going to get melted down. This fish is doing work right now. That is going to be a triple kill for him.
And unfortunately for Purple Team, they just don't have the damage anymore. The Zyra's Void Staff is not completed. It seems like she's going to opt for an Abyssal instead, and they're really is lacking the damage to be able to compete in the late game.
Yeah, they really need to get their pen up a little bit sooner on that AP. If it was there, those plants would be chipping away at them that entire time they're sitting there trying to team fight.
In the bot lane, however, and as well on the top lane. Sejuani trying to hold the point. It looks like Karma is going to go down to Irelia.
And down she goes.
Wukong coming in. Perfect grasping root Cyclone combo is going to clean up 2 members of blue team. Jax and Lee Sin going down as the Fizz tries to retreat throughout the jungle. It's going to make it to his Urgot, who is going to absolutely chunk this Wukong down. Did not realize that Urgot deals that much damage, but he does have the core fully filled, 40% CDR, the Mana Moon, and the Last Whisper.
Yeah, he's got full CDR. He has got his full pen going. That Muramana is going to be incredibly hard to deal with. And Jarvan actually...
and Exhaust being blown to try to get this Urgot to go down, and he finally is.
Will finally be taken out there. Fish just wisely backing off. He's about at half HP. Doesn't want to mess with anything right now. So he's going to be running around trying to get to this top point and defend it after picking up a health relic.
Come the Waters is going to be coming off cooldown soon, and his whole team is going to be coming out for this very, very good bait. Flash Counter-Strike coming out on Zyra. Zyra gets the Wooglets off, but she is most definitely dead. Jarvan trying to finish the cap on the point to get Quest, and he is going to be able to, as we see Sejuani back out. Now, the Wukong comes in, Jax being very low. Come the Waters being thrown on the Jarvan, he's going to go down. Jax is going to retreat off from the fight as we see Wukong and Jarvan are both going to fall to the Urgot's damage on the point. Double kill. And the Sejuani is most certainly going to get cleaned up. I don't believe the Fizz will go down. Counter-Strike being charged. Fizz is going to troll pull out, and Jax is just going to continue the cap on the point, which is very, very good multitasking on the team's part. Ooh, the Wooglet.
Very nice Wooglets.
On the charge.
Sejuani
looks like she's going to might get out of here scot-free. No. Oh, no, beautiful.
Oh,
double
one
by the Lee Sin to stay on him in the corrosive charge, and that is going to should seal her fate. She is still jumping around.
She is trying her hardest. Oh, there's the final. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Very good bait. Manages to pull the majority of their team around the map, stopping the recalls and allowing her team to come up. We saw traded kills being down in the bot lane. The purple team were making a very good 3-man push here. Blue team completely did not see this coming. It was a very good map rotation.
I do have to say in that last team fight, though, Blue Team had some amazing coordination, swapping the turret cap so it wasn't shooting anyone, not stacking unnecessary damage on their team. So very nicely played there when they were doing that dive. And
Purple team biding their time, waiting for their Karma to show. We have Jax with the back cap coming out in top lane, so Blue Team doesn't really have to fight this. It looks like they would get a cap, but we see Irelia going absolutely deep in on this Zyra. She's going to get ignited, and she might fall. You have Jarvan throwing Cataclysm down on the Urgot as it should be the focus target. And Purple Team are going to go out, try to save their Zyra, not be able to, but we do see Lee Sin also fall as fights scatter in every different direction on the map, and it looks like Blue Team did get the best of it.
It looks like they did. They did lose that fight mid. It looks like Jax was not able to completely get that cap all the way. Urgot going to be trying to chase down the Wukong. Oh, just barely missing that corrosive charge. But they will be able to get this bot lane back, but in the meantime, up top, Karma is here, ready to cap this point.
This is a very stacked Karma. She's been farming in bot lane for quite a long time. She has 13,000 gold. Most of the people in this game only have around 10 to 11,000, but she is going to take a corrosive charge to the face as we see Urgot trying to do enough damage to take her down, but we have Wukong and Sejuani both going to gap close in and make sure that that is not going to happen. Irelia also is going to make an appearance top lane, going to fight the Jarvan along with the Lee Sin. Beautiful kick, knocks up 2 people, but unfortunately the Lee Sin is not a damage dealer here. And we do see Jax slowly starting to come up, and they're roaming around in the jungle trying to bait them with the Fog of War. Jax getting a counter-strike on the tank. Karma in the backline is going to get gap close on by Irelia, going to put the shield on. And we see Jarvan coming out with the EQ over the top. Wukong going to go down, and the Urgot being uncontested in the backline is most definitely going to put this hurt on Purple Team.
Yeah, you got to get that Urgot down. He is sitting in the back pumping out so much damage. He's got that Maw Malmortius now to make sure that magic damage doesn't get through as much as he would want it to. And oh my goodness, that Karma and Sedge are so low. Sedge, no! Don't go into that bush there. There are a lot of people
Funny,
waiting
giving
for
her
you.
life for Ire. Fish was whiffed in the bot lane, and he doesn't feel confident enough to go on the Zyra hiding behind the point. Karma gonna go down to the Irelia as we see a 4 cap, and this might be the end of the first game of today. You have Wukong coming in, however, trying to get the lead in. We have Swap being used, and he is getting absolutely turned on. Jax getting absolutely destroyed by Cyclone, however, losing an incredible amount of health. Both people are going to go back in on the Jarvan as he does not have enough damage to take them out, being built with a random endowment and a Hex Drinker, no Last Whisper.
That Last Whisper is so vital on a bunch of bruisers in Dominion. It is one of the core items, you might say. And it's still going to be a 3 cap. There are 12 seconds on the clock. It takes about 8 seconds to get a point from full to neutral. And if they don't start channeling and capping a point right now, I think this will be GG.
Yes, it looks like this will be the end of the first game of the Azubu Crystal Cup for today. We have Blue Team, whose name is
Abusement Park taking it out. Legendary Fish, too. Topping off the game.
17, 6, and 16, putting in a lot of work for his team, along with the Urgot, who is 16, 4, and 17.
Very nicely done by both teams. I'm actually really surprised that the team comp-oriented comp didn't actually win. I thought the Wombo combos would come through there in the end, but it seems they did not. Also, our spectator is quite bugged right now in the client, so we cannot get a victory screen. But that's all good. We can still get to our post-game stats. And, man, that Urgot and Fizz putting in the work. 16 and 4, 17 and 6. Lots of assists, so you know they were helping out the team. That full-ish tank Lee Sin build, helping out, getting that 36 assists. Very nicely done there.
Lee Sin really just acting as a vision bot. Nobody opted to buy sweepers or Grez Lanterns because he was doing his job, making sure he got Tempest and Triple down on the Lee Sin, and lowering both the Jarvan and Lee Sin's attack speed every single fight.
And let's check out these damage graphs here. That Urgot, no surprise, sitting at the top with 41k damage dealt. Fish, not so much, but he was doing his job on mainly focusing down that Zyra, so his damage isn't going to be absolutely, you know, phenomenally high, because Zyra doesn't have the biggest HP pool. But he was doing his job as the assassin, taking stuff out. Irelia sitting at 31k, probably because she's fighting that Karma who's sitting down there sustaining in lane all day. So very nicely done. Alright, and we are going to be getting into our next game here in just a few moments. But before we get to that, I actually have an announcement from Azubu for you guys. A very special thing going on. They are actually giving away a mousepad signed by all of Team Curse. So if you guys want to get in on this, if you want to win a mousepad, it's a pretty nice mousepad too. It's all linked here. I'll have someone link it in the chat for you guys. But it is signed by Voyboy, Saint, Cop, Nijaki, and Liquid. And you could win this for free. All you need to do is follow them on Twitter, like their Facebook page, and 2 runner-ups can also win a Teemo or Rammus hat. Oh my gosh, I have a Teemo hat, and winning a Rammus hat would be so cool, because I've always really wanted one. But if you guys want to win this mousepad, we'll have it linked in the chat. You guys can check that out. Azubu giving it away, again, hosting this tournament. Thanks so much to them. Some really awesome stuff. And we'll be back with some more games in just a moment.